All
We're
righty.
actually in the woods where we shot the leopard scene.
Which scene? I'm sorry.
Scene with the like running the blood reeds.
Okay. Yeah.
Windy as shit out here too. So.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're super busy, so I'll jump into it if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay with you if I record this and maybe share bits of it later?
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to find a spot where I could like sit down so it's less like watching a found footage movie.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about today. So now it works out.
Let's see, if you guys want to go down to the cabin, I can just walk down. Because I'll just sit up here and do this, and you guys can. I'll be down in a minute. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm on your time. So I just like Jack said, I appreciate you doing this. Take time out of your day. So
yeah.
Let's start with Cryptid Bash. How was that event for you guys?
Cryptid Bash. What was that?
That was Morgantown.
Morgantown. Yeah, sorry.
You're busy. I think you guys have done 2 or 3 events since then.
It was cool. It was fun. It was a good turnout, I thought, for like a first year event. Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah. Anything about that event stick out to you guys in particular?
I met you there. That was cool.
That stuck out to me for sure.
Yeah. I think like just the demographic was cool because it was like a different demographic from what I think we're used to with this stuff. It's like younger audience and people were enthusiastic, and you didn't have the people that are like, like as geared toward my way of doing this is the only way of doing this.
Yeah.
I didn't encounter a lot of those people, so that was cool.
That's cool. Okay, yeah. That was a fun event. I think everybody who was there had good things to say about it. What is one thing that people should know about Seth Breedlove?
Oh, man. I have no idea what I'm doing from hour to hour, which I think is probably pretty apparent given that I completely forgot about this meeting. I'm always winging it.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of plans in place. I kind of like just go with the flow and hope we survive. That's and like I think that's given the way we do things and the way I run STM, I think that's the only way we could operate. Like yearly we are dealing with an increasingly hostile marketplace when it comes to like independent content creation, making movies. And so year by year we evolve and we had to adjust on the fly. This year I knew we were going to run into like serious issues because of the Amazon nonfiction ban for Prime. And so we put a lot of our eggs in the YouTube basket, and it seems to have been paying off so far. So we're going to continue growing that. So yeah, it's just always be winging it.
Okay.
I always Aaron, one of the STM crew always says he's DTF, down to film, and mine is ABF, which is always be filming. So that's how we are. Perfect.
That always be filming, that came in pretty handy for you in Chicago recently. I don't want to ruin anything. I don't know if it's okay to ask about that. But
did you watch it? Did I send you that movie?
You did. You sent me Discovery and Lake Michigan. I watched them back to back and was floored.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah, what did you think of them?
I mean, a lot. Enjoyed the hell out of both of them, of course. I like everything you guys do, but the nest sites in the Olympic area.
Yeah.
And then your sighting in Lake Michigan area, like, I know you said that's probably a bird, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, it's still really compelling. Like,
yeah, I think where we're at is that more than likely that was a gray horned owl.
Okay.
Is where I kind of came down on it. And But yeah, for sure. I didn't. The weirdest thing about that whole episode was just like, we're in the middle of making a movie about Mothman. I was alone for the first time on the trip. As our crew expands, it becomes increasingly difficult to find time alone when you're doing this, which it's funny because I'm sitting in the woods right now by myself. But yeah, I was alone and I was outside the hotel and I heard the flapping before I saw that thing. And no one around me was reacting to it, which was pretty weird. I've talked about that part of it. That's the only thing about that whole episode that really kind of weirded me out. It's funny, dude. I'm actually so a week ago, I had a sighting, like my first Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah, that's one of my questions. You want to talk about that? Because I'm obviously super interested in that.
Yeah, well, I'm in the woods right now at the top of the hill from where I had the sighting. Well, I'd be on an opposite hill, but I'm on a hill where there's been a ton of activity. When Alex and Eli filmed Beyond the Trail here, this is where they stayed, the woods I'm sitting in right now. And then last Friday, or it would have been last Friday, we were in the woods and not last Friday, the Friday before, we were in the woods. Heather and I were in these woods. There's these old like rubber drums, like oil drums or something that are up here. And she slammed one of them with like a piece of wood. And later we had all this activity. We basically we felt like we were surrounded by these things. But it all kicked off with one of them returning her drum beat.
Like a wood knock. Oh my God.
It literally went up to we think it was the same drum. You could tell it was something banging on one of these rubber drums. So I'm in those woods right now and it's always like weird up here.
Wow.
Yeah, I had basically a daylight sighting that lasted like maybe, I don't know the time, like anywhere from like a fifth of a second to 2 seconds. It was somewhere in there. And it was like dark brown colored creature, upright, really muscular biceps, which is one of the only things I can, for some reason, that's the thing that my brain latched onto was the musculature.
Sure.
And I don't know how big it was. I actually think it might have been a young one.
Okay.
Because it didn't seem to be really big, but we haven't got back up to the spot yet. We're actually probably going to do that here in a little bit.
Dude,
go to the spot and try to recreate it.
Wow. You have to keep us posted on that. That is incredible.
Yeah, we were out posting trail cams. We were putting up trail cams, which is what I'm doing today again. I'm like going back out, putting up some trail cams. I'm not planning on like catching evidence of Bigfoot with the trail cams. I think they actively avoid them. I'm actually trying to get footage of the other wildlife in the area to see what's moving around here. Minerva has stories of mountain lions that predate Bigfoot sightings in the area. And so I really am hoping I can get some sort of mountain lion. And even like last Saturday, Heather thinks she heard a mountain lion roar up here. So
that recently. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a really cool place. I'm like kind of addicted to it. I'm out here on a Monday afternoon, which should tell you something.
Yeah.
If I could be here like all the time, I would be. I mean, I think I've spent like six or seven nights out here, but I've been out on multiple occasions just to kind of like wander around the property. It's unreal. And we're doing this for a YouTube series called The Bigfoot Project, which was originally conceived to be basically like a podcast with an investigation component. And then we shot the first weekend and everything popped off. And so now it's kind of morphed into something else. But
hey, it seems like you're getting a lot of returns just on this one site.
Oh yeah. No, I've been in what I consider some of the most active areas in the country, like the Adirondacks, the Ouachita Mountains in Oklahoma, the Olympic Peninsula. I mean, anywhere Bigfoot's seen, I think I've been to some of the most active locations. And this really trumps everything except the Ouachitas. Like in terms of what I experienced in one night, it was like nonstop activity. And even when we were leaving on Sunday, that weekend, the same weekend I had my sighting, we were packing up the cabin and something gave the clearest whoop you've ever heard in the woods. Broad daylight, middle of the day on a Sunday. So clear. The craziest thing up here is the wood knocking. There's just, I haven't heard anything today, but I would be shocked if we don't hear a wood knock before we leave today.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much, if you're here, you hear a wood knock.
That's incredible. I can't wait to see more on this. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool. Super cool spot.
I had a non-cryptid question for you. Since it's almost Halloween, what are your top 3 horror movies if you had to choose?
Mark and I just talked about this on Monsteropolis. Halloween. I love Halloween. I love there's a chainsaw. That's a little different. Let me think. Halloween and Psycho is one of my favorites. Oh, that's a dirt bike. That's not a chainsaw. And then probably, man, I don't know. I love Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero Dawn of the Dead. So it might be those 3. Awesome. I'll say those are the 3.
Perfect. Are there any upcoming films you're really looking forward to right
now? You mean other directors or other?
Yeah, just anything that's coming up.
Dang, it's a good question. And there's like, I don't. Wes Anderson has a new movie coming out. I can't remember what it's called. I want to see that. I want to see Dune, and I want to see that.
I'm very excited about Dune. It's my favorite book. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and I want to see the new James Bond movie. But you know what? Like, I don't watch movies like I used to, so there's not a ton coming out that I'm paying much attention to. Like, I try to catch if there's like new surfing documentaries. That's what I'm super into right now. So
okay. Very cool.
I've never surfed in my life, but watching documentaries about it I enjoy. So maybe that.
Very cool.
I'll go with those 3.
Yeah, I love it. Let's see. You have a way of getting witnesses to open up to you when you're interviewing. And recently I'm thinking of Dark Sky and Skinwalker. How do you find these people?
Heather.
Okay.
Yeah, in the earliest days it was me, but it kind of changed with Momo. Heather came on board with Momo and started acting as my researcher. And I mean, at this point, she kind of like steers the ship when it comes to who we're talking to. We're about to leave on Wednesday for Colorado.
Yeah.
For like an 8-day shoot for Night Visitors, the next on the trail of UFOs movie. It might actually end up being the last UFOs movie, but she's got, she puts the whole list together, and then she pretty much dictates like the schedule of events that we're following as well. So that is one thing. Like, the one thing I can tell you about Heather is she's not afraid to just completely wear me out. Like, we get in on Mountain Standard Time at like 8:30 in the evening, and we have 2 interviews that night. So
dang.
So and then the next day we have an interview first thing in the morning, and then we get on the road and drive to the San Luis Valley, and then we're filming down there for 4 days. And then we got 3 days in Nederland, which is like Netherland. It's a town in the Rockies, like literally up in the Rockies. So it's Heather really steers the ship anymore when it comes to who we're interviewing. She'll ask me if, like, if things are okay, if like this person's cool, if this story works for what we're trying to do. I just heard a wood knock. Could you hear that?
Now?
Yeah. See, the thing is though, it's windy out here, so that could have been.
I heard like a muffled something, but
yeah, it's not. I don't think it would be definitive enough because of the wind for me to say it was a wood knock, but it sounded like one. Did you hear that?
I definitely heard that.
Now that was friggin' loud. Dude, this is so cool that you're actually hearing it happen.
I can't believe this is happening. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
So Heather kind of like steers the ship. Dude, that was wild.
I'm afraid to say anything because I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
It is super windy. The only thing I could say is maybe that was like a branch falling and hitting something. That sounded loud to me.
I mean, I could hear it clear as day from, through Zoom. So, and that's coming through your phone.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah,
if you have to hang up abruptly, I'll understand, just so you know.
They're running for my life. Well, right before I got on the phone with you, we actually banged one of those drums. So.
Okay. So they could already be responding like, oh man, this is exciting. This is like next level interviewing. I'm so happy right now.
So yeah, Heather deserves like the lion's share of the credit for that kind of stuff.
Okay. For locating those folks. Okay. Why do you think you've been so successful in getting people to open up to you with what in a lot of cases are very personal stories?
It doesn't have anything to do with the paranormal or connecting with people over like their paranormal experience. When we meet witnesses, and this is how Heather does it too, but it was the way I did it when I ran this as well. You just get to know them as people before you even get to talk about paranormal stuff. I know Heather told me like a week ago, she had a conversation with someone that lasted for like an hour where they were just complaining about their work day before she even started talking about their UFO sighting.
Wow.
And so, I did newspaper reporting for like 8 years, freelance newspaper reporting. So a lot of that comes from when I was a freelancer. Man, it is like crazy windy up here.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, it all just comes down to talking to people like they're people rather than someone who can offer you a story,
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That's something John Keel was kind of known for as well. Do people make that comparison between you and him ever?
No, I don't think so. Keel liked to speculate, and I don't really speculate. As far Keel liked to form, and it's fine because like I think he was more actively interested in getting to the bottom of the mysteries he covered than I am. Like sure. I'm really just out here trying to document the stuff. I don't really try to figure out the secrets of the world or the universe. I'm just along for the ride.
Right.
It's a little different when it comes to Bigfoot. Like I am interested in finding something out when it comes to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But
I'd say
I've never heard that comparison before, really.
Okay. Just curious. The next installment of On the Trail of Bigfoot, speaking of which, is coming out later this year. Anything you want to like preempt that with, or
so it's a movie that is built around evidence, and we don't do that typically. I haven't made many projects where it's focused on evidence gathering or evidence, and this one's entirely about evidence, and the evidence is deceptively simple. I think the YouTube crowd, when they watch it, will probably make jokes and think it's a movie about raccoon nests or something. But when you watch the movie, if you watch the movie with an open mind, and I don't mean so open that like your brain leaks out your ears, but with an open mind, Hold up. I seriously doubt you can hear that. It's a real distant whoop. Down the hill. So let me show you where we are. This place is super creepy.
Oh, wow.
This is where we shot, the Rougarou, the blood reed scene and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all these abandoned structures, and you might be able to see those blue barrels down in there.
Yeah, and kind of make them out. Mm-hmm.
Those are the drums that they seem to like to hit. But yeah, I just think I really think if you can come into that movie with an open mind, and it might change your opinion about whether or not Bigfoot exists. Like, at least make you more open to the fact or to the possibility that they might exist.
Absolutely. Awesome. Going back to Rougarou, you mentioned it. You guys tried a couple new things with that, like the found footage approach.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that just a little bit? Or?
Yeah. Well, we always try to stylistically change up the game when it comes to the recreations on the Legend movies. Mothman Legacy was just a straight ahead. The recreations weren't really stylized. They were cinematic, and it wasn't. We didn't try like a different approach. And did you catch that?
No.
This is. I'm gonna come across as like a crazy person. I'm gonna
go back through this audio later with a fine-tooth comb.
That honestly might have been Heather, because it's coming from the bottom of this hill I'm on top of, and the cabin is at the bottom of the hill.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just, we always knew that one was going to be found footage styled. We didn't want to deviate from that. Sometimes it's easier it's a lot easier to make a normal narrative styled recreation than it is a found footage style recreation. Found footage is really intricate, and you have to nail everything for it to actually work. And it seems like it shouldn't be as difficult as it is. It seems like it should be such an easy thing, like just point the camera and film and capture it. But we had to do multiple takes of every single recreation. It took a ton of work. And I think we learned a lot. By the time it was done, I kept thinking I would like to try my hand at making like a full-fledged narrative found footage movie sometime, just because like I really enjoyed I don't know which scenes in that work, but I know the blood reed scene works. Like, I really enjoyed the way the blood reed scene played out.
Yeah. I found those a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, the chase scene was really good. I think there's it comes in somebody's house, like a birthday party scene later on. Yeah. You guys nailed it with that. There was also a decision made kind of late to add Skinwalker to how the Rougarou is a prefix. What brought that about?
You got to sell a movie once you make it, and the distributor had indicated they were concerned about the title of the movie, and so they told me they wanted it changed to something else. I didn't want to change the title, so we just added something to the title that might be a little more eye-catching, or I guess the concern was that no one knew what a Rougarou was. They originally had said something about calling it. Did you hear that one?
No.
Yeah, they had actually talked about maybe changing it to like werewolf. And we changed it to Skinwalker. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean the Skinwalker thing too. It's a Southwest desert, sort of tradition. Not really rooted in the American South. We realize this. At the same time, the Skinwalker and the Skinwalker shape-shifting, traditions and the lore surrounding that are something that are all throughout America, honestly, all throughout the world, but especially North America. When it comes to native lore, it's just given it a different title in different parts of the country. And so we kind of just added that title, and it works whether people think it works or not.
I like it, but I was curious. And you guys are getting more into that with American Werewolves next year, correct?
Yeah. American Werewolves, we're still really early in the research phase, but I know it's going to be kind of an anthology movie, and it might create a new series within Small Town Monsters, kind of like On the Trail or something like that.
Very cool. Looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got 2 final questions for you. I don't want to, you got a lot going on there right now. I don't want to keep you from, I don't want you to miss anything. You guys have a big following in the community. You know, obviously a lot of people really love your work. Was there a moment where you realized you're one of those guys, like a leading kind of figurehead in the paranormal general community?
No. I don't think of myself that way. I don't think most people think of I don't think most people think of me that way. I just am a filmmaker. Like, honestly, dude, this is being just 100% honest. If I could not have any place with my face being in front of people, I would prefer it that way.
Really?
And I'm very antisocial. I'm kind of a hermit. I like being alone in the woods. I like spending time with my friends, but the you know, being the face of STM is not something I had ever planned to do, but it's my business, and it supports, especially now, it supports more than just me. Mm-hmm. And so it is part of my job to talk to people and to go places and talk to people. But I mean, you saw me at Cryptid Bash. I was hiding behind the table on the couch. Like, that is how I am. And I definitely don't consider myself like any kind of like paranormal personality or anything like that. I just kind of, I'm a guy who makes movies, and that's about it.
That's cool, man. I love the humility. That's really cool. Last question. This is totally out of left field. Star Wars, Star Trek, both or neither?
Both, but I'm more of a Star Wars guy for sure. But okay. I mean, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Star Wars. I didn't get into Star Trek until later in life, but I do really appreciate it, especially the 60s stuff.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping you'd say, both, not for any particular reason.
Yeah.
Seth, that's everything I had for you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Thoroughly enjoyed this. So you're cool with me sharing little snippets of this, or, you know?
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. I'm sorry if the audio and stuff are terrible.
No, this is awesome. Now I get to tell people for the rest of my life that Seth Breedlove may have heard wood knocks while I was talking to him. So
I can't tell what I heard, honestly. Like, that second one was so loud. I have a hard time believing it was just wood or like a tree break or something. But it is super windy up here, so
we'll see. All right, my friend. I'll let you go. I really, really, really appreciate your time, sincerely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a great one.
I'll catch you later.
Yes, sir.
Bye.